Hello there, I am Jo South. I'm a director and business coach at UK Growth Coach. I wanted to spend some time today talking about how you can implement some strategies to help you manage your time better. So time can feel like your enemy. There's never enough of it. You don't get to focus on the things that you want to be doing. You're constantly being distracted. That reflects both in your work and in your personal life as well. And ultimately it's a fight that you're not going to win because time is finite and it's more about how you use your time effectively. When you set up your own business, you probably weren't unrealistic with your expectations, knowing that you needed to dedicate a lot of time and energy for probably very little return when you first started up your business. But that cannot be the sustained version of your business and what it ultimately looks like, because you just, for your health, physical and mental well-being, and frankly, you're taking a lot of risk when you're a business owner, setting up on your own, doing everything yourselves, risk from a financial perspective, risk from a personal perspective as well. At some point, that imbalance of time needs to be fixed, and that's what I wanted to talk through a bit today. So why does time management matter to you as a business owner of a small and medium-sized business? It matters for a few reasons. Firstly, the amount of risk that you have taken as a business owner in setting up your own business. You need that return, and you deserve that return from it to have that work-life balance that you want and are looking for in life in general. It's also about ensuring the best value from your business as well, that you are leveraging the most you can out of it. And then the third thing is also about satisfaction, frankly, that you are spending the time doing the things that you love, that you are passionate about, and where you deliver the most value and get the most energy in return for, financial and from a personal perspective as well. But it takes discipline to achieve that. Lots of people can end up going, I'll work less when I've got that person employed, or that'll happen when I've got these systems in, or when I've won that contract. There's always a dependency for when people are going to say they're going to reduce the amount of time they spend on their business. And actually, very often, those are not going to be some magic formula to solve the problem for you. It takes a proactive approach for managing your time, and it takes discipline to keep to that as well. So I wanted to talk through 3 strategies that we use with our clients all the time that you might be thinking would be useful to use in your own business as well. The first strategy is something that we call a balanced diary. So the way to start with this is to look at all the roles, functions and activities that you do as a business owner. So you have a role as the managing director of your business as well, but you may also be the sales director, the finance director. You may even be the cleaner in your office as well, or the person who's responsible for making sure the store cupboard is stocked up. You may be the chief salesperson, the person in charge of marketing, whatever those roles and functions are that you have, list them all out so you know every single hat that you wear within your business. Once you've done that, you then need to look at the frequency of which those activities need to be done. So something like payroll needs to be done monthly. Staff reviews are something that you may want to do quarterly, but you need check-ins more regularly than that, for example. Look at the frequency and how long you need to do each of those tasks. Then comes the really tricky bit about mapping that time into your diary at the frequency needed. Now, unless you're working with a business coach, it's not all unfortunately going to fit in instantly in a 9 to 5, 5 days a week sort of scenario, but you at least have a basis to work out where you need to make compromises. Do you really need to be spending that extra 20 minutes there, or could you be better spending your time in the managing director role doing something else for that 20 minutes, for example? And it's about trying to get a balanced set of time in your diary for how you're going to do this. One key thing that I do need to highlight though, which is something that happens so often when you are performing so many roles within your business, is that you often allow the operational side of the business to effectively fire other roles within your business. So what I mean is that people quite often say, I didn't get time to spend planning my business or researching something or going out to do something to help the business grow or change because there was a client issue, because they needed me on the floor. I needed to be the technician in my business. What's actually happening in those scenarios is the operations director has fired the managing director, which you would just never do when you think about it on a rational perspective when you take a step back. So the key thing is, don't let the operations take over your time doing those other roles. You can move things around, of course. If a client has an issue, you need to deal with it then and there, but they don't get to remove the time altogether. It just gets rejigged in the diary for when that happens. So the second technique is something called the Eisenhower Matrix. So this was created by President Eisenhower of the United States to effectively look at where he should spend his time and help him make his decisions better. So it's a graph, if you like, based on two axes. So one axis is based on how important an activity is, and the second axis is based on how urgent an activity is. So that then divides it up into 4 sections or quadrants, if you like. So something that is urgent and important may be like a sales meeting that you need to sit. Something that is important but not urgent could be something like a staff review. And then you've got lower level tasks, things like necessary to make sure that the cupboards are restocked, or ensuring that you've got the staff lunches booked in, or whatever those things might be. They may be important but not urgent, for as a point of comparison. Once you've mapped in those activities, you can then start to see what needs to be done with all those areas as well. So if something is urgent and important, you need to crack on and get on with those. Those are the higher level activities that you need to take responsibility for and get on with doing. But activities that are important but not urgent, schedule those things into your diary. So for things that are urgent but not important, you need to delegate those. So really important note to make here about delegation. This isn't a last minute panic of, oh, Mary, please go and do this stuff for me, or John, can you take this off my hands to do me a favour? It's actually about making sure that you delegate properly. You give people the right tools, you give them the right training, you show them the process to make sure that they do it the way that you want it to be done, and that it needs to be done so that it's consistent of high quality. Otherwise it's coming straight back at you, and that doesn't help you. So you need to delegate, and delegate properly when you do as well. And then for anything that's not important and not urgent, ditch it. You've got too much stuff to be doing that is important and is urgent. Ignore anything from that side of things. The third strategy is called the Pomodoro technique. So it's named after the old kitchen tomato timers that you may have remembered from, well, I remember from my childhood anyway, where you basically time the amount of time you spend on a particular activity. So the way this works is you spend 25 minutes doing the task and activity. Then after 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. You then repeat the pattern, another 25 minutes working, a 5-minute break, and you repeat that cycle 4 times. Once you've done it 4 times, you then have a longer break. So say something like an hour to have a bigger break, effectively. And the reason why this is a really useful time-effective strategy is that it's so easy to fall into that trap of going, I'm too busy to stop for lunch, I'm too busy to go out for that team meeting, I'm too busy to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and thinking that sitting at your desk or sitting doing whatever technical work that you need to be doing will somehow improve the amount of stuff that you get done. But we know taking frequent breaks rests the mind, the body, and your thinking processes as well within that. So actually, if you want to get the work done quicker and to a better quality, short bursts of activity tend to work better. So it's really important to remember to take those breaks. You may not want to specifically time it in quite that way, but make sure that you take the breaks. It will help you get more done quicker and to a higher standard. Remove that temptation, be disciplined with yourself about stepping away from your desk and the tools if you need to within that as well. So to wrap up then, there's 4 key points that I'd really like you to take away from this very short vlog. The first one is make sure that you allocate sufficient time for all the roles and responsibilities that you need to be doing within that. Secondly, delegate activities, but make sure you do it properly. Put the right systems and processes and tools and training in place so that it is done properly. It will save you so much time in the long run. It is really worth doing. The third thing is making sure that you are really disciplined with yourself around this as well. Don't let yourself off the hook, and don't let your operations director hat fire the managing director hat as well within that. And finally, make sure you take a break as well. Thank you.